chapter 14, we're going to be talking about local government. We've talked about the three levels, federal, state, and local. We're finally going to get down to local, which means close to home. That's going to be the city government. There's a couple different terms you guys might not be familiar with, like a county board. District attorney is one you guys should know. City council, city manager, and the mayor. So there's three levels of government: federal, state, and local. There's also the three branches: the executive, legislative, and judicial. The mayor is the chief executive for the local government. We'll get into each one of those in a little more detail further in the chapter. So what the local government does, they take care of things in the city. They're the ones who make sure the streets are clean. They're the ones who plow the roads when we have snow. Their job is to fill in the potholes. Their job is to make sure that there's hospitals and things like that. Now, for the hospitalization, we can also have the federal government get involved in the state government, especially when there's big needs like what's going on right now. They handle the police officers and the firefighters too. Local government is never going to stop a war between countries. They're never going to send the army to go fight. They're never going to build a 500-mile highway or a giant wall. What they do is they take care of things in the city that are important to us. Local governments can be villages, towns, cities, and counties. The United States has more than 19,000 cities, and those cities can vary greatly. Like Los Angeles is an enormous city with millions of people. Some cities have hundreds. Some cities have less than 100. Some of them are very, very small and have very different governments. Like a town in New Mexico is going to have a lot different requirements than a town in Washington or a town in Alaska. Each town has its local government set up to meet its local needs. In some ways, local government is similar to the state and the federal. Cities and counties have their own written laws. So there's federal laws, there's state laws, and there's city and county laws. They also have three branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial. But there are some differences. In most cities and counties, the executive branch and the legislative branch kind of share responsibilities. So a state is divided into sections called counties, and we are in Mahoning County. County government is kind of considered like the arms of the state government. County governments carry out the laws of the state in local places. The work of running the county takes place at a place called the county seat, and there's a group of elected people there called the county board. They meet and they figure out ways to solve problems. It's usually between 5 and 9 people that are elected to the county board, and their job is to make the county laws and carry them out. The board has the power to set taxes and decide how the money should be spent. They also run the different departments within the county. They could have different departments like the Parks Department, the Health Department, the Sheriff's Department, and they all have very different responsibilities. They have other elected officials that help run the county too. One of these other elected officials is the sheriff, and the sheriff is the person who runs the police department. They make sure that the laws are followed. Another person is called the assessor, and the assessor's job is to determine how much value people's property has. The higher value your property has, the more taxes you pay. So like someone like LeBron James is going to pay way more property taxes than Mr. Oliver because I don't have nearly as valuable of a house. There's also the district attorney, and that's the person you guys see when you watch Law and Order. They're called the DA. Their job is to represent the county or the city in court cases. They're the one who prosecutes or press charges against people. There's also a person called the county clerk, and they keep track of all the births, deaths, and marriages. And keeping track of those things is important for lots of reasons. They need to know when new people are born because if the population increases, a city might get more representatives. They might need to change how their taxes are done. If they have less and less young people in a city, the city might decide they need less schools. So the county clerk's job is to track all of that data to make sure that the county is appropriately spending its money and solving the problems. Different cities set up their government in different ways. So there's one way called the city council mayor plan. So they elect a city council, which is 5 to 9 people. Each one of them represents a chunk of the city or a district. And then another person is elected called the mayor. And the mayor leads the city council meetings. He is the chief executive of the city. Some cities give the mayor lots of powers to carry out the laws. Other cities, the mayor does not have very much real authority. In some cities, the city council is really the one with the authority. In those cities, the city council passes the laws, they come up with a budget, they hire and fire people, and the mayor is really there more just for show. He's in charge of the meetings, and he's there for like ceremonial things. This is called a weak mayor plan. Now, in other cities where the mayor actually has the power, it is called a strong mayor plan. And the mayor is similar to the president and the governor. He can veto laws, but he can only veto state laws. And he can hire and fire people, and he can make a budget. And a budget is a plan for spending the money. So the ceremonial jobs that the mayor could have would be when there's a brand new building opening or a brand new business, they go and they cut the ribbons. They give speeches, and a lot of times if there's a disaster, they're going to give a speech to kind of put the city at ease. Another type of way that the local government can be run is called a city council, city manager plan. And it's very similar to the previous plan, but there's a couple of key differences. They will hire someone called a city manager, and the city manager's job is to run the city similarly to how like a manager would run a business. If you think about a manager who works at McDonald's, they try to make sure everybody's doing their job, try to make sure they're not wasting money, not putting too many people on a shift, and the city manager's job is similar. His job is to run the city efficiently, make sure they're not wasting money, come up with a good budget, and try to keep everything running smoothly. The last one is called a city commission plan, and a city commission plan is usually only set up in smaller places. And a city commission plan is very similar to the city council, where they're going to elect people, and these people, like I said, like the city council, their job is to make the laws, but they're also each the head of a department, such as the fire department, police department, health department. So you have a few people sharing more responsibilities in this plan. It's usually only in small towns and cities. Okay, so now we're going to get more specifically into the departments of the local government. So there's a group called the health department. They do lots of different things. They inspect the hospitals. They also inspect the restaurants. And they inspect the restaurants to make sure they're following the rules. If a business is not following the rules, that business can get warned or they can even get shut down. A lot of counties have streets and road departments. Their job is to take care of the roads. It could be plowing, it could be filling the potholes, it could be clearing the roadkill from the roads. A parks department takes care of all of the public areas like the playgrounds and the beaches. They're going to be the ones who make sure those places are nice and people want to come and visit them. So next we're going to talk about local government services and how they can take care of the needs for the people. Every city is going to have different needs, so we're going to figure out how those needs get addressed. Most local governments have something called a community service office, and their job is to answer people's questions about how the government can help them. One way they can do that is by providing low-cost health care. Most counties have public health care, but people can go and get treated, at a reduced rate. I'm curious to see how this is going to tie into what's going on right now. We're out of school, and I wonder if they're going to start giving free treatment and free testing of the coronavirus. We'll see what happens with it. They also help senior citizens. One thing they do is they can offer reduced rates for senior citizens for like rent, for transportation. They can also make sure they get meals at reduced rates too. Another thing they do is schooling for adults. A lot of times they have programs where people who were unable to finish high school for many different reasons can come and finish those programs. We actually have a program here at this school where 22-year-olds and up can come and get an actual diploma instead of a GED. They also do things to help people who want to become an American citizen. They can help them prepare to take their citizenship test. There's lots of other ways people can get help from the community. These aren't necessarily part of the local government, but they can still do things to help people. Some examples of community groups are going to be things like the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and the Goodwill. Those organizations are set up to help people. So you usually think of these things as like charities. Okay guys, so now that we're done highlighting that, you're going to use the stuff we talked about to do day one's work. You're also going to use the stuff we talked about to complete day 2, 3, and 4's work. If you have any questions, you can comment on the video and I will try to respond as quick as I can.